Hello, hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. आज चाहिँ हामी caster Juventus फेरि आज बेस्ट अफ 5 हुनेछ टिम वाकु वाकु versus टिम मोर्बिड upper bracket finals. Now we're just waiting for the players and then we'll get ready. All right, members are coming in. We're waiting for the last of Team Waku Waku. After which, game सुरु हुन्छ. आज चाहिँ best of 5 हुनेछ upper bracket finals मा. Winners go to the finals, losers go to the lower bracket. if I'm not mistaken. Parque de Mola, last few members. Hope everyone is ready. All right. I believe the entire team is here. Waku Waku पनि छ अन्त team Morbid. अब bandsहरु हेर्दिम होला. Let's see what they decide on. I hope everybody's excited. Everybody's ready. Upper bracket finals. Best of 5 हुनेछ. Whoever wins 3 rounds will advance to the finals. The losing team will go down to the lower brackets. We are now waiting for the bands. From team Waku Waku, we have Xborg and Matilda. We're waiting for team Morbid. We have Faramis and Baxia being banned out by team Morbid. Alright, hopefully everybody remembers the bands. Bands are Borg Matilda, Faramis Baxia. Duita teams ready होला. And now we go into the first match of the set. Best of 5 upper bracket finals. Winners go to the finals, losers go to the lower bracket. Start gardim होला.
Your team is banning.
Here we are into the bans. Faramis, Borg, Matilda, and Baxia banned out. Let's see what they go for the first few bans. Here the Mola. Barat's ban हुन्छ होला from the side of team Waku Waku. Why not? They plan out to ban Fredrin. Fredrin, strong jungle, very fast wave clear. This will be interesting. From the side of team Morbid, hear them. Okay, this side हुन्छ banma. We have Barat being banned out by team Morbid. Both sides choosing to ban out junglers first, trying to take out the tanks. Second ban for the side of the blue team. They take out the Esmeralda. Esmeralda is one of the new junglers, you could say. That's all. Team Morbid ban out Harith. Interesting. Harith, very good gold lane. Very dominating gold lane actually. Counters the Roger gold very hard. Let's see what Team Waku Waku go for first. They first pick Angela, a good support, early game Ramo Unsa, good heal, good stun, and eternal presence. With the Esmeralda banned out, is practically not that big of a challenge for the Esmeralda. Let's see for the side of Team Morbid. They are showing Odette being picked up and Yu Zhong. Very good EXP and mage early. Odette gets a lot of good burst. Nowadays, Odette's been played a lot, I've seen. Her passive and her ult doing insane AoE. And Yu Zhong just a good early to mid game fighter. Whereas Team Waku Waku pick up the Arlott. Arlott is an insane EXP winner. With the Angela locked in, we know that Arlott is going to the EXP and they choose to take Nathan. A very strong draft coming out from Team Waku Waku. Arlott can build semi-tank, Arlott can build full damage as well. There is a chance of him actually dominating against Yu Zhong, but let's say this will go into the hands of the players. The final pick before the second phase of the bans for Team Morbid, and they decide to pick up Roger. Now this Roger could be a flex pick. It can go to the gold and it can go to the jungle. Ramre pick ho. Against Nathan gold goyo bane Ramre cha. It can dodge out most of the damage or the final slash coming from Arlott. Let's see. The second phase of the ban, Team Morbid ban out Tigreal. I'm not sure why. I believe they fear that this Angela may be going to the mid as well. They're closing up corners, whereas Team Waku Waku take out Minotaur. Both sides choosing to ban out roamers. We have a pick coming up from Team Morbid. Let's see what they take. And they decide to take the Martis. So this could be a Martis jungle and a confirmed Roger Gold. Again, Roger Gold is pretty good against the Nathan, able to poke the Nathan very well, do insane damage in the late game. Whereas Team Morbid now pick up their final two members. They take the Paquito. Let's see. And they decided to pick up the Gwyn. So this is an Angela mid. This is an Angela mid. Paquito or Arlott could be flexed into the EXP. And this is a Gwyn jungle coming out from Team Waku Waku, whereas Team Morbid hovering the Ruby for their roam. They're looking for a roam. Against this comp, Ruby being locked in by Team Morbid is actually pretty decent. It can cancel out a lot of things coming in from Team Waku Waku. We'll have to see how the match days go into the matches. Let's see what they build and go accordingly. For the side of Team Waku Waku, I believe the magic damage may be lacking. Alikati kamti nai hune cha hola. Nathan र Angela. Mid ma त Angela ठिकै हुन्छ. It's not something that will get bullied easily. First skill हुँदा healing पनि हुँदा राम्रै हो. But we'll have to see how the games play out. And I believe this is a roam Arlott coming in from the side of Team Waku Waku. Team Morbid drafting a front to back, whereas Team Waku Waku doing a more heavy initiating comp, high damage. And we are into the matches. Both sides are now starting up. For the side of Morbid on the red, starting up with Ice Retribution, and for the side of Waku Waku, the jungler seems to have some issues. But here we go into the matches. I'm interested to see how the mid lane fares. Them having Angela. Angela should be able to do well. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we have Arlott being seated there. possibly helping the Nathan snowball. Roger may be in trouble. But Gwynny starts late on the buffs. This may delay her against the Martis very heavily. Martis already in blue while Gwyn is starting up the red. In the bot lane still, the Ruby has appeared. So it's a 2v2. Meanwhile, in the top side, Yuzhong getting a little bit chunked, but still being able to play out well. Clears waves fast. Going back to the bot. A little bit of a skirmish in the early game, but I believe early game match tatro naunu parne. They have the Angela, they have the Arlet. It should be an easy game up until the first turtle, which is coming up in 30 seconds. Top side, Yuzhong getting chunked pretty low. Meanwhile in the bot, here we are in a game pause. Hamro Waku Waku ko jungler alikati problem garde hola. Let's see what happens. Let's see what goes on. A pause being called on. Not sure why. I think they will make a new server now. A new lobby with the same picks. There's discussion for we will be making a new lobby, I believe. They'll be the same bands. Waku Waku. And with that, I think so we will have a new lobby being completely made for the side of the teams. A redraft, but with the same bands and the picks. Interesting. हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ वाकु वाकुको गुइनेभियर जङ्गलर हल्का नेट नपाएको जस्तै भएको थियो होला अर्ली गेम पनि ढिलो भएको थियो We are now going into a redraft. Again, the same bands and the same picks coming out from both teams. Bands out being Fredrin, Esmeralda, Minotaur for the side of Team Waku Waku, and Tigreal, Harith, Barat for the side of Team Morbid. Pixel पनि same हुन्छ. We're just waiting for the players. Sorry for the delay. Again, we have to ensure fair fight for both sides. We can't have both teams not being able to play properly at their best, especially at this level. Upper brackets go. A very crucial match. Winners again go to the finals, whereas losers go down to the lower brackets. All right. While we wait, let's look at the chat for a bit. The teams are ready, I believe. I'm not sure whether the teams are ready to go or not. Waiting a bit of confirmation from the side of the teams, and we're going into a classic draft which will have the same picks as before. All right, we are probably going into the final matches. Let's get around the final teams. We have Guinevere, Angela, Arlette, Paquito, Nathan for the side of Team Waku Waku, and Odette, Yuzhong, Roger, Martis, and Ruby for the side of Team Morbid. It should be the same picks. Any changes here and there? Let's hope not, so that we don't have to go for a redraft. And yeah, there's the same picks and drafts. And we're going into game number 1, best of 5, Waku Waku versus Morbid. And let's go. Again, we didn't see much last fight. We know that Team Waku Waku may set up again in the bot side with 2 members. But besides that, all right. And we are in it. Match number 1. Both junglers going for the Ice Retribution. Looking at the battlefields, we have Yuzhong with the Petrify, we have Arlette with the Flicker. We are going to be seeing, and the rest of Team Morbid go with the Flicker as well. 4 men clear in the red buff side for Team Morbid, whereas Gwynny solo clears her red buff. Moving on to probably the Rock Golem. This time a little switch up. Waku Waku being in the blue team, Gold in on top, and EXP in the bottom. Alright, it looks like the same as before, but in the mid lane, contesting the lethal. Team Waku Waku get the lethal. March is brought down low, but it goes almost deathless. Gwynny clearing out her side of the jungle, whereas Martis continues to clear her jungle. In the top side, we have the 2 roamer and gold laners duking it out. We have a little bit of a poke game going on from both sides. And we are back to a standstill. Here, everything looks probably in the late game favor of Team Waku Waku because of the draft of the Nolan and the Angela, with something like the Arlette in the room. Ruby walking up in the top side, gets a little chunked by the Arlette, whereas Roger coming in to help defend. 9 seconds before the fight, before the turtle spawns up. Both sides probably preparing for it. Martis already on the turtle, but decides not to start it up. Interesting. Going for the green camp of the Gwynny first. Gwynny not being able to do anything. Martis gets the secure on the green. Starting up turtle for the side of Team Morbid. Ruby in position. The rest of Team Waku Waku also coming in. Ruby poking out the Guinevere. We have the Paquito also in there. Yuzhong into the fight. Jump into the Martis, catches off and gets the turtle. First blood by Odette, whereas Martis is going crazier in the early game with the decimation. A retribution onto the Paquito confirms a triple kill for the side of the Martis. This turned out in great favor for Team Morbid, and as Martis clears the red, Gwyn probably will try to contest that, but will not be able to get it. An interesting turn of favors. Team Waku Waku do get the turtle, but in exchange they lose 4 members from their side. An insane start for the Martis. Martis is known as a snowball hero, so we'll see how those kills correspond to the early game. Very interesting fight going on that went down at the turtle. We might be seeing these same types of things in the next turtle as well because of the early game scale that Team Waku Waku have. In the top lane, nothing much going on. Nathan trying to freeze the wave. Arlette knows that the Ruby is there. March is also rotating on top side. Guinevere trying to get out, but is not being able to. Angela Heartguard on the Guinevere, jump into nothing. Team Waku Waku disengage, so does Team Morbid. In the mid lane, Paquito rotating, clearing out the wave, and returning back to base. Team Morbid checking out the jungle of Team Waku Waku as they set up for the first turtle coming up in 6 seconds. Arlet in position. The Angela getting caught off. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Yu Zhong gets caught off by the Guinevere and the Paquito, but the Angela does not go down to the Odette. Odette already using her ult. That is not good for the side of Team Morbid, but they do get the turtle instead. The turtle goes uncontested. Yu Zhong going down in the bot side. Paquito getting a lot of gold plating. An interesting turn of events. Team Waku Waku decide to give up the turtle for a kill in the bot side, while Odette tried to get the Angela in the mid. And this is the issue I talked about, possibly faced by the Angela. She is going to have a tough time against Odette, especially in wave clear and in map presence. Obviously, with her heart guard, she is still viable, but it may take some time for her to do actual magic damage. Relying heavily on the Nathan for the magic damage. Ruby walking into the bush, sees the Nathan, gets caught up into the final Requiem. Meanwhile, the March is coming in, is not able to catch anyone. Final slash onto the Roger, hard guard onto the Arlet. But it is a disengage. Ruby going down for the side of Team Morbid. That is the roamer for nothing. A good pick-off from Team Waku Waku. This is something which they have to play in the early game, since Team Morbid has such a strong mid to early to mid draft. Paquito, in the bush, gets caught up by the Martis. Martis gets the lethal and decides to disengage because that could be a tough fight with the Guinevere in the corner. Meanwhile, in the mid, Ruby clearing it out. Arlet being positioned. Ooh, that's interesting. Both teams getting ready for something, but decide not to. Meanwhile, in the top side, it seems that the Guinea is rotating onto the Roger. Roger being posted under the tower. Arlet in position. He's trying to get vision on the rest of the team of Waku Waku. The whole team, 4 members on the side of Waku Waku. A jump onto the Roger, gets caught off, and that is the Roger down. Final Requiem extended for the Roger and also the tower. Nathan chunking that down very easily, setting up turtle with the Roger down. I don't think Team Morbid can contest, whereas the March is getting able to catch out the Guinevere, and the Guinevere goes down. That is the power of the Marches. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the mid tower goes down, where the Paquito goes on the Odette. Odette flickers out. Marches still going in the backside. Yu Zhong catching up the Angela, being able to take down the Angela. Keeps going on with the sustain, is able to sustain, and also Paquito goes down to the Marches. This should be a free turtle for the side of Team Morbid. An interesting turn of events. They look like they could have done better for the side of Team Waku Waku, but early game engages is not an option for such a late game heavy composition that was drafted by the side of Team Waku Waku. Meanwhile, in the top side, we have a little bit of a tussle. Final Requiem got into 2, and the final slash, that is a 2-kill, double kill onto the Ruby and the Roger. Meanwhile, coming down to the bot side, we have nothing down. Team Waku Waku getting an advantage from the side of Team Morbid. Right. As nothing interesting going on. The Guinevere walking up into the bush, gets the heart guard placed on her, continues fighting the Martis, not being able to. The Paquito coming in with the flicker, gets 2. Odette getting 2, takes down the Guinevere. Paquito also goes down. This is a whole brawl. Nathan being chased down. Arlet surviving. Roger coming in from the side. Angela pretty low. Ruby backing up. a 1-for-3 trade for the side of Team Morbid, which is heavily in their favor. This is a back and forth game, high kill pressure, whereas Team Morbid decides to go down the bot tower as well. There's nothing Team Waku can actually do. Ruby walking into the tower. This feels like a connection issue right there, because there's no way that Ruby may just walk into the tower like that. There's a kill secured by Angela. It's interesting. Coming up to the items, we have the Starlium site picked up by the Guinevere. Meanwhile, the Roger getting his items together. He has already the Wind Talker. The Martis being very fed, has the BOD already. And yeah, coming back, the Yuzhong goes in but decides to call it off because the rest of the Team Waku Waku are there. All right, the Lodge is up and both teams may decide on preparing to contest it. All right, while we wait for that, let's see what both teams decide. Team Morbid starting up the Lord, whereas the Guinevere starts up her Red. Morbid chunking down the Lord very easily. Yuzhong ult with the Black Dragon form. Guinevere into the bush. Doesn't get the retribution. Papito going in. Guinevere catching a jump. Tries to disengage. Heart Guard already on. The Guinevere goes down. And Team Morbid looking to take down the rest of Team Waku Waku, but Odette ulting and clearing it out. The Nathan coming back in with insane damage. The final slash onto the rest of the team. Arlet gets a double kill, turning it around for Team Waku Waku. A Lord for 2 members on the side, Team Waku. An interesting change of events, which is actually very nice. They are able to clear out the Lord very easily now. This could almost be a wasted Lord. Team Morbid not getting anything out of this Lord. Possibly an interesting turn of events. Team Waku Waku still showing that late game prowess, that Nolan finally coming into actions. Let's check the items one more time. Yes, the Nolan already being in 2 items with the Starlium Scythe and the Feather of Heaven, probably building up a Holy Crystal, maybe. Whereas the March is now building up tanky. Odette already with the Bloodwing. The new changes on the Bloodwing really have helped out. Both sides now backing up. All right, the rest of Team Waku Waku in the top side, clearing it out, looking to take down the top tower, probably siege it, but the rest of Team Waku are also there. Team Morbid. Let's see what they decide to do. The Arlet going in on the Roger, that's the final slash. Still has the final slash actually, whereas the rest of the team, the Guinevere getting out the order goes down, and this looks like a bad turn of events. Ruby also goes down. Marcus in the middle of 4 members basically, tries to escape. Final slash out, doesn't get the Marcus. Marcus running for his life. But for how long the Marcus also goes down. This is a huge lead for the side of Team Waku Waku, and insane late game damage. The Nathan really doing well. They take down the mid and they probably take down the second tier tower of Team Morbid as well from the mid lane. Possibly looking for more minion spawn for the side of the red team. We are now at a disengage as Team Waku Waku decide to play disciplines, probably taking down the bot tower as well. Team Morbid slowly losing their grip. Their early game is falling off now. The Nathan really scaling hard. Ruby does get a spin onto 1 member, the Arlet, but gets chunked down heavily by the Nathan. Waku Waku do not get the bot tower, but that is fine as the Lord is up. And Team Morbid probably deciding to bait it out. Let's see, a concealed play by the Arlet and the Nathan. Arlet checking out bushes really well. Roger also in position. Team Morbid in the bot side of the jungle, whereas March is still in the red. Paquito may get caught off here, but does not get the recall. Arlet coming in, gets a stun onto the Ruby. Roger going back in. Alright. And Team Waku, the Nathan start to hit the Lord, start chunking down. Meanwhile, in the bot side, there's a fight between the fighters at the Lord pit. An interesting change of events. Martis trying to show himself. Team Waku know that the Martis is also there, present. Let's see what they decide to do. Both teams already ready. No big ultimate spended. Meanwhile, a jump onto the bush. The Ruby gets a I'm offended onto Paquito, but meanwhile, in the backside, Yuzhong alone trying to take down the Martis. A jump onto the final Requiem by the Guerrier. This is a mad fight. Roger going crazy here. There's nothing that team... That fight was really fast. There was nothing that Team Waku Waku could do. The Roger damage and the stuns coming out from the side of Yuzhong was enough to deter Team Waku Waku. The Guinevere setting up, possibly trying to get the steal. There is no retribution on the Martis right now. Whereas Yuzhong does get the stun up. But Martis gets the Lord in the last moment. The Guinevere also falling here. This might be the end as the Lord spawns topside. Team Morbid recalling back to base. As Team Waku Waku try to recover from the insane fight that happened at the Lord, losing out. Having a final check on the items. We have the Divine Glaive and the Holy Crystal for the Nolan, so this Nolan should be hitting hard, but we also have 2 Athena shields for the side of the Ruby and the Martis, plus a Radiant Armor for the side of Roger. The Team Morbid trying to take down the top tower, gets the siege on it, takes it down, mid tower also falls. The blue buff being taken by the Martis. Team Waku Waku have to back up as the Lord comes in to the top tower. Paquito trying to get to safety. Yuzhong taking down the bot tower. All in all, a good trade as Team Morbid decides to back off, not going for any more engages, just clearing out waves, trying to bleed out Team Morbid, even though both sides look to be at a interesting position. 3k ahead is Team Morbid against Waku. Still a chance for the side of Waku Waku. Them having the Nathan and the Angela, with the stuns coming out from both Arlet, Paquito, and Guinevere. This could be one good fight and things might turn around. But it may be difficult. Team Morbid reaching that late game. Yuzhong maybe in a tough spot, but decides to backs off, knowing that Team Waku may be approaching. As the minion waves come in for the side of Team Waku, they just clear it out, basically. A very good... We are dead even when it comes to kill scores now. 2k goal lead for the side of Team Morbid, but at this point, when we're in so late, a few items still coming around for a few members, probably the Roman the Mage, but Team Morbid looking at the blue buff, whereas they're trying to get the Nolan. The Nathan does get the blue buff as well. Sorry, I get confused between the Nolan and the Nathan. Our Lord coming up in 5 seconds. Let's see if both teams decide to contest or Team Waku tries to give it over straight free to the side of Team Morbid. Mart's already on it. Paquito showing himself. Yuzhong catches out the Paquito. Topside Arlet getting shown. Guinevere in position. The Black Dragon form comes out. Trying to zone out the Guinevere. The Guinevere just does jump, and it's a retribution battle won by the Martis into a for death ult. Meanwhile, the side of Morbid looking very low as Nathan comes in trying to clean up everything. Nathan gets the Ruby. Chasing down the rest side, getting the Martis as well. Angela goes down for the side of Team Morbid and Yuzhong as well. A triple kill for the Nathan, the late game hero monster, as the Lord comes out. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Arlet getting stomped down by the Roger. This is a clear for the side of Team Waku Waku. A very good fight for both teams, actually. Waku Waku winning out the trade, but losing the Lord, being able to clear it very fast. Just goes to show the damage that this Nathan can now dish out. Having a final check of the items, I guess as you can see, we have a few items just coming up for the roams and the junglers here and there. But the Nathan is completely built with the Bloodwing and the Holy Crystal and the Divine Glaive, whereas for the side of the Roger, probably building up a Malefic Roar at the end there. A great defense and a great fight by the side of Team Waku. Impressive. Now the Paquito does cut out the Ruby, backing out. The Guinevere and the Martyrs spotted out. Both teams now having to play very safe. One misstep could lead to a wipe right here and now. Team Morbid have to take down the Nathan, have to figure out a way to take down the Nathan at all costs before a team fight, or even get a pick off onto that hero before they can do anything. Otherwise, this Nathan, if he's left to free hit, will shred. Team Morbid pushing out mid. For the side of Tower, where towers, Team Morbid do have a few up, but as we can see from the Nathan, he can just shred through towers as he shreds through the Lord as well. So it's going to be very risky on how they play this out. Both teams seeming to play a little bit more passive. Paquito in the bot side trying to get vision. Gwynny also trying to get vision. The Ruby catching out one. The two fighters brawling it out as the Paquito gets out. The Arlet probably being shown there. Interesting. As Team Waku decides to back up from this fight. As the Guinevere may be in deep. The Odette is also in the bush. Let's see what happens here. The March is also in position. Lord coming up in 10 seconds. March is going in. The Guinevere gets the jump, but does not get anyone in the process. The March is being able to pull back the Paquito for just a bit as the Lord spawns and Roger clears up topside, forcing Team Waku to split their resources to probably defend the top, otherwise the top tower may go down. A fight probably about to break out in the mid in the Lord pit, but no, Team Waku decide to go back and defend their towers. Roger taking down the top tower, and Angela getting chunked pretty hard. Meanwhile at the Lord, Guinevere getting caught off Ruby, Paquito being able to push back the Ruby, Nathan coming in with the Black Dragon form. Yuzhong goes down to the Nathan. Roger also joining the fight, but is unable to do so. Hard guard onto the Nathan as Team Waku decides to take the Lord. March is not trying to give it up so easily. Continues the fight. Team Waku focusing down the players. Ruby goes down to Immortality and goes down to the Nathan. Roger on the Nathan right now. Nathan goes down, and an incredible ult by Odette, but gets cancelled out by the final slash coming in with the Divine Final Requiem. March survives with the help of the Immortality as the Roger backs up. Paquito trying to defend out. March going in and does not get the Lord. Paquito gets the Lord and the final slash onto the Martyrs, taking him down. This was an interesting fight, a long fight at that. Roger coming in, trying to take down whatever he can. The Guinevere may be going down right here. Yep, Guinevere goes down. A back and forth trade for the side, for both teams, going possibly into the favor of Team Waku with the Lord spawning on their side in a bit right now. Even though we have a high damage coming out from that Nathan, it can be seen that with the right position, Team Morbid may get a leverage against the opposing team if they could take that Roger down. I mean, if they could take that Nathan down. Roger clearing out mid. There's nothing that Team Waku can do with their jungler down. They don't have much of an initiation. besides the Arlet, and they decide not to wait a minute, as Team Waku prepare, but the Lord does go down and nothing comes off it. All towers, as before, standing for Team Morbid. They are holding strong with the tower positioning. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Team Waku, a final slash onto the Yuzhong. Yuzhong may be going down here. And in 1-2 knock-up by Paquito takes it down. And the bot tower also falls. A good turn of events for Waku Waku. The late game spike really kicking in right now, being able to melt heroes like the Yuzhong so early on. A final check onto the items, because I believe after this there may be no more items coming out around, maybe just item switches. We have Arlet being built very tanky with the Twilight armor as well. For the side of Team Morbid, all their items seem to be built a basic composition. Nothing interesting going on here. Coming back into the game, Team Waku do have it themselves set up at the red buff, and they do get the top tower. Roger nearly missing out and falling there, but will be able to get out. All right, for the side of Team Morbid, their wave clear is decent. They should be able to hold out for a bit longer, but I'm not sure for how long, because they are starting to fall off. The Martis is falling off from the damage, the Roger not being able to keep up with the Nathan. This is going to be interesting. It all relies on the Odette, who is currently at base right now. Lord coming up in 16 seconds. Let's see what the team decide to do. Team Morbid already almost set up, as Nathan shows in the mid. Clearing out the mid is the Odette. And Immortality for the Ruby as the Lord spawns. And Team Morbid trying to go on for the Paquito. Paquito, the hard guard out onto Paquito, trying to get out. Meanwhile, in the backside, Nathan gets the Ruby. Paquito still being able to survive for a bit, goes down. The March is not being able to get anything else. Meanwhile, in the backside, the Nathan also goes down to the Yuzhong, which is a very good fight. Completely going in. Angela completely zoned out. The rest of the team of Waku Waku can't do anything. Angela goes down here. This is a 5'3" trade for the side of Team Morbid. This is a free Lord or a complete end. With the Nathan down, I believe this may be game number 1 for the side of Team Morbid, as they push in that bot tower with a huge minion wave, actually. And yeah, a Black Dragon form coming out, trying to zone out the members. A jump onto the backline, but the Ruby does catch him off. There is nothing more that can be done, and that is GG's game number 1 for the side of Team Morbid. 1-0 right now in this best of 5. That was an interesting last fight. The Paquito getting caught off right there at the end caused an insane turn of events, and the Nathan being going down to the Roger. That was, to the Yuzhong is really, really, that was the nail in the coffin for the side of Team Waku Waku. Now let's see what they change up in the second game of the day. Remember, this is a best of 5, so it's not over yet. Both teams have an opportunity to actually still pull up. A good first win for the side of Team Morbid, though. All right, looking over to the chat. Let's just have a quick look at what the subscribers are saying. Unmistaken, everything gone exactly. That is it for game number 1. One mistake by Team Waku Waku cost them the entire game. A very interesting turn of events being played out as we enter possibly the second game of the night. Best of 5. Team Morbid still being able to probably 3-0 them. It's not sure. But we'll go into number 2. Waiting for the teams to come back as we can start the drafts again. Last game, nothing can be said. Mostly it was all dependent on positioning. And sadly, the Yuzhong was able to catch out the Nathan in the last fight and really turn the tides for Team Morbid. Though Team Waku Waku were also dishing out insane amount of damage with that Nathan. But the mid lane Angela may have been a misstep on the side of Team Waku, because without any good sustainable mage, they do not have the right amount of control for the mid lane, losing out to that Odette, and we could have seen that Odette really putting in the work in the early game, securing objectives very well, and zoning out the rest of Team Waku Waku. Now, match number 2. Team Waku in the red side, Team Morbid in the blue. We are waiting for drafts and the bans for game number 2 from both teams, after which we'll get into it. I'm interested to see what they decide to ban out right now. Borg and Matilda, both being banned out, the same bans from both sides. Borg, Matilda, Faramis, and Baxia as game number 1. And yeah, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? I guess that's the concept we're going. And I think so all teams are ready. Let us go into game 2. Currently, Team Morbid's up 1. Team Waku Waku, will they make a redemption in the second game? Best of 5. Winners go to the upper bracket finals, and losers go to the lower brackets. All right, coming into the bans. Franco, Borg, not Franco, Faramis, Borg, Matilda, and Baxia already banned out from both sides. The first ban by Team Morbid this time goes to the Nathan. Yes, obviously, the Nathan causing a huge threat last game. Good first ban for them, just cleaning up the edges, which leaves Team Waku open to different strategies right now. Will they go for the Fredrin ban as well this time around, as they did last game, or will they leave it open? Let's see. And the ban coming to an Odette. The Odette being taken out. Oh yes, a very crucial mage from the side of Team Morbid. The second ban. And yes, the Odette was insanely good in that game, being able to do a lot for the rest of the team. Barat being banned out at the side of the jungler for Team Morbid. A very basic, straightforward ban, let's say, with the Barats and Nathan, as Team Waku decide on what to ban next. The Odette already out. Will they ban the Martis out, which gave them quite a bit of trouble in the early game, last match. Let's see what they decide on. And they do take out the Martis. Alright, they do take out the Martis, which leaves the Legend still open, I believe. Not sure. But they do show the Harith, and they pick up the Harith for the side of Team Morbid. Harith, again, an insanely good goal laner without much counters, possibly the Ixia, which I've seen countering the Harith pretty well. Other than that, I haven't seen any of the good heroes being able to counter this strong, insanely strong goal laner, if this is going to the goal lane, which more than likely is. Angela also being picked up again by the side of Team Waku Waku. They're going up with the same strategy, but and the Fredrin being picked up by Waku Waku. Fredrin Angela, a classic, which is interesting, as Yuzhong also comes in. Yuzhong, and let's see what else they decide to pick. They're hovering up the Lilia. As for the side of Team Morbid, they decide to take up the Farsa. Okay, they're covering up their loose ends here, with the Harith going to the goal lane, EXP Yuzhong, and a Farsa in the mid. Angela Fredrin being picked up by Team Waku Waku. They're closing up the first draft with a Esmeralda as well. Moving on to the second part of the drafts. Esmeralda is an interesting pick because Esmeralda can be a hit or miss. Against Harith, it is known to be a natural counter with the amount of shield that can be done. But with items like the Sea Halbert and the DHS being changed and revamped, it'll be interesting to see if this Esmeralda can do well. The Daroth being banned out, giving this Esmeralda and the Fredrin a little bit more better early game. Daroth being a very high damage hero could take down the Fredrin and the Esmeralda very well in the early game. With an Angela, they decide to take out the Claude so that they do not get preferably split push, the Blazing Duet also being a very important problem for a standstill mage like the Farsa who needs to sit back and use her ultimate. A Minotaur being picked up by Team Waku Waku, which is a really good initiating hero right now, one of the best tanks in the meta. So that means this is again a Angela mid. Roger and Franco, interesting, being picked up by Team Morbid. Roger, yes, okay, Roger is a good jungler right now. He's decent, coming back into the meta, getting rid of, almost trying to get rid of the all tank meta of junglers. Let's see what Team Waku Waku pick for their marksman or their goal laner. And they decide to take the Moskov. Ooh, that's very interesting for the side of Team Waku. Moskov, again, a hero that can be at anywhere at any time. With the Angela having 2 global ults, this is going to be very clear as what Team Waku's game plan is. As for the side of Team Morbid, that Franco, this will be an interesting matchup because a Franco can be a hit or miss. If he gets the hooks, it's basically a kill. Otherwise, it could also land Team Morbid in an interesting position with them having an Esmeralda and a Fredrin. But Franco is also able to cancel out the Minotaur ult if he is able to reach him with his with his ult. And I think so that's what they're looking for, Team Morbid. All right, as we enter game number 2, Team Morbid versus Team Waku Waku. Team Morbid in the blue side, Team Waku in the red. Game number 2, Team Morbid already up a match, and we're entering the Land of Dawn. Both junglers opting for Ice Retribution, Conceal on the side of the Franco, and Favor for Minotaur. Alright, we're going to be seeing a basic start. Both junglers being helped out by the rest of the team, as we see the Franco coming topside with the Harith, same as the Minotaur. Again, in the mid lane, the Angela against the Farsa. Again, Angela's not a traditional mage, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with that, play around it. Not having a good mage could be detrimental. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Esmeralda already being chunked very low by the Yuzhong. I wonder how that happened. Probably overextending. This is the issue with the Esmeralda. Esmeralda's wave clear has been increased, yes, with the damage, but her sustainability has gone down as per the new patch notes. Meanwhile, in the top side, Harith being in a 1v2 situation, as the rest of Team Morbid rotates towards the enemy blue buff, but they get nothing out of it. Meanwhile, in that fight, Roger getting caught off by the hook onto the Fredrin. The rest of the team being able to get out as the Roger goes in but gets knocked up by the Minotaur. A Lycan pounce onto the Fredrin and first blood drawn by the Farsa. Minotaur also going down. Yuzhong getting the kill. And a insane start for Team Morbid, which puts a big setback to the Fredrin, who wants to peacefully farm and get his items up before the first turtle, and the first turtle spawning up in 7 seconds. I'm not sure if Team Waku Waku are ready to actually contest this, giving a huge lead to the Roger as well, with 2 assists, and the Farsa and the Yuzhong. In the bot side, Yuzhong pushing out his wave, gets the second skill onto 2 members, as Team Waku are getting ready. As the turtle spawns and neither side decides to start it up as the Minotaur does get chunked, but flickers out. The Esmeralda jumping straight in, getting chunked really low, and the Heart Guard being spent out. Yu Zhong going in for the kill, gets the Esmeralda. Meanwhile, in the backside, the Fredrin catches the Roger as Yu Zhong escapes from the enemy jungle. A good trade turn of events for the side of Team Waku as the Franco gets caught off by the Fredrin, the final appraisal's wrath coming down, but not being able to secure the kill onto the Franco as Fredrin starts up the turtle. Roger in the vicinity may try to contest this, try to get the retribution off as Yu Zhong settles back. Farsa also coming, the rest of Team Morbid, and the Roger gets the retribution. Being 2 levels up than the Fredrin. This is an insane start for Team Morbid. The Fredrin actually losing out a lot in farm and in retribution. As we go into the first item check of the match, the Harriet interestingly building the Dreadnought armor, which is really good against the Moskov as the Moskov finishes up with the corrosion sight. Other items also coming in for the rest of the team as Minotaur gets seen out by the Franco, and the Moskov probably being in a tight spot right now. The Harriet trying to poke him out with some good damage as the rest of Team Morbid try to collapse onto the top side. Harriet clearing out the wave and setting up at the back. Fredrin taking his red buff and trying to find some farm on the map. Right now this man is very dry. Team Morbid have sucked the entire jungle out of Team Waku Waku. The Franco sitting in the bush right there. Minotaur going back to the top side. All sides looking interestingly peaceful at this moment. Meanwhile, on the top side, alright, there's nothing much interesting going on right now. As the turtle gets ready to spawn in 30 minutes, a first turtle check, second turtle check, item check. We have a Genius Wand for the Farsa, which is going to be insane damage. And again, the same issue lasts. There is no magic damage for the side of Team Waku Waku. Yes, there is the Esmeralda, and yes, there is the Angela, but that's not enough secured magic damage to do against Team Morbid when they have such high defense heroes. The Minotaur and the Franco just having a stare off while the Roger starts off the turtle. As the Fredrin does rotate, the Minotaur getting caught off. The Heart Guard on the Minotaur as the Roger goes in, but the Minoan Fury coming out, trying to catch up the Moskov. Ultimate onto the Minotaur, and the Minotaur falls, whereas Roger gets taken down by the Moskov. A double kill for the Moskov. Harris being caught up in a sticky situation is unable to get out. The Moskov gets a triple kill as Team Waku Waku wins out with a 1-for-3 trade and possibly the turtle. Farsa trying to get into position but cannot. This is a free turtle for the side of Team Waku Waku. An interesting turn of events. The Roger being caught off there into the Minoan Fury was a very big misstep for the side of Team Morbid, heavily turning the tides. Finally, this Fredrin is able to get his farm, his share of the farm onto the map in the bot side. Esmeralda being able to chunk down the Yu Zhong as Roger rotates bot side, and Yu Zhong tries to go in but sees the Minotaur and decides to back up. Alright, this was really good. A 3-kill onto the Moskov, which is very nice. Moskov requires the snowball and is very happy to get those 3 kills almost for free. Good play coming out from the side of Team Waku. As the Land of Dawn gets a little bit heavy in here, mid lane being pushed out, but the Angela's there to clear it. We do have the Minotaur being high up as the Franco is still in the topside bush, waiting, punches out the Minotaur, but decides not to fully commit as the rest of Team Waku also rotate and a jump onto the tower. No one goes down, but the tower does fall. Fredrin in the backside, meanwhile in the bot side. The Fredrin being caught off. Ultimate coming out from the Moskov. A Minoan Fury onto the Farsa. Farsa goes down. Franco trying to get caught off, gets the stun onto two members as Harith also falls. Roger trying to clear out, but this is four members from the side of Team Waku Waku. They cannot do anything. The Roger also goes down. This is a 4-4 nil trade and a Maniac onto this Moskov, which is going to be very insane. This Moskov is such a good hero right now, being able to reach anywhere in the map. This is a mid tower also taken down for the side of Team Waku, and an insane turn of events before the first Lord spawns. Insanely well played by the side of Team Waku. Minoan Fury straight into the stun, getting two members, and that Maniac. Top tower also falls. As Lord is up, will Team Waku decide to actually push forward and continue taking the Lord, extending the lead, or will they slow it down just a little bit, get the discipline back? Let's see for the side of Team Morbid what they can decide to do. Again, this Franco having a real issue here. If he's not, he is landing the hooks right now, but then again, they have a Minotaur who can just disengage. They have a Esmeralda, even though in the bot side, they're having a little bit of a fight. The Esmeralda and the Yuzhong, they're going at with each other. But in the late game, the Esmeralda can break up the Franco's ult as well with the stun. So it'll be interesting how to see how the late game goes. The Harith actually losing out to the Moskov, but not by a mile. The Harith is just 2-1, but the Moskov very high up in gold. As the Lord gets started up by the Moskov. In the bot side, however, Yu Zhong in the back side does not go down, but the Fredrin does go down to the side of Team Morbid as the Roger continues with the Lightning Pounce, a stun onto him, but is still able to get the kill. Yu Zhong taking the kill away from the Roger. Meanwhile, in the top side, Harith gets caught off by the Minotaur and the Moskov as Lord's taken by Team Waku Waku. A lot of crossplays happening in the Land of Dawn right now. The Team Waku Waku getting good trades all around as Team Morbid have to group up together to actually get into any team fights right now as the Lord walks down the mid lane. Let's do a item check right now. As we can see, the Moskov really in deep right now, building the Wind of Nature last. A few more items and then we're already done. The Farsa having the Necklace of Durance, which is an interesting item instead of the Lightning Truncheon. Not enough damage right now, but the Lord does go down in the mid side. As Team Waku Waku decide to take down a few towers, probably the bot side. Let us see what happens now. As this Moskov is very fed. They need to get a kill onto the Moskov if they want to try and stay in this match, Team Morbid. As Team Waku did the same thing, what Morbid did to them in the early game and taking away almost all the farm on the map. Let's see. The Franco is there, but is unable to land the hook onto the Moskov. The Moskov able to get out as they try to rush in with the mid wave. The Fredrin coming in, trying to catch the Roger, and the Roger does get caught off, while the Franco also has to extend the flicker to get out from the Angela stun, which means that that's already a flicker down for the side of Team Morbid. A minute into the Lord's spawn, as Fredrin walks up aggressively to check the bush. Team Waku at a standstill, Franco being caught out in the top triangle. Lord coming in 40 seconds. Bot side being cleared off by the Yu Zhong. Team Morbid starting to group up now. Team Waku also getting together. The Franco walks into the triangle, gets caught by the Fredrin, but does not get taunted. The Esmeralda jumping into the blue pit, which is interesting, and gets out quite easily, just getting vision as the Fredrin goes in and a all-out brawl starts as the Yu Zhong is unable to get his ult out right now. The Appraisal's Wrath coming down, but is not able to chunk down as the Black Dragon form comes out for the side of Team Morbid. 5 seconds into the Lord spawn. Will Team Morbid be able to contest this? I'm not sure. And they already have the Black Dragon extended, but in the backside, Esmeralda goes down and the Heart Guard already being extended by the Angela. Fredrin trying to go back in, but the Roger does get pinned to a wall as Moskov wipes the floor, taking down the Roger, and that should turn out the Franco being caught off as the Farsa ults. The Minoan Fury coming in, gets into 4, gets a catch. Moskov getting a kill onto the Franco, gets the Yu Zhong down as well as the Harith. And that is a 4-for-1 trade for the side of Team Waku. Again, an insane trade coming out. That is also the Lord, a free Lord to the side of the red team, which may be very detrimental. This could put a huge dent into the towers of Team Morbid as only a Farsa remains. Roger now spawning up. This Moskov really putting in the work. Moskov, such a good hero, being able to dash anywhere at any time with his ult if it lands on the hero. And also the Heart Guard coming out from nowhere. That is the power of the presence of 2 global ultimates. Really putting Team Morbid in a stretch right now. Unable to get anything off the map. As this is a complete change from the side of the first game. As the Lord spawns in, top side. Bot tower, Esmeralda keeps pushing it in. Probably be able to take it down before the Lord even comes. And a item check before a brawl breaks out. We have the Roger with the attack speed build, which is not something common that you'll see against it, and a brawl breaking out as the Minotaur falls down with the Heart Guard in the top side. Yu Zhong trying to go back in. Moskov still free hitting. Esmeralda going in and out. Fredrin catching off the Roger, but the Roger is able to escape. Franco trying to get an ultimate onto the Fredrin, but is unable to do so. Franco and Roger goes down to the Esmeralda as the Fredrin tries to pick up pace. Yu Zhong getting the stun, but does not get it down. Moskov targeting the base. Heart Guard coming down onto the Fredrin, and that is game number 2 for the side of Team Waku Waku. A very fast-paced cross-map play really gave them the victory on this one. The second game going to Waku Waku, and at a draw 1-1 right now for the side of Team Morbid and Waku. That was amazing. Very interesting. Angela and Moskov with the Abyssal Spear and the Heart Guard really putting a dent into the side of Team Morbid. And Team Morbid, in the early game, it did look like they were winning out, but with an interesting build path by the Roger, probably trying out something new with the attack speed build, Trinity build, something was interesting. Both sides drafted interestingly. Waku Waku going in for a more traditional draft, but this time they made the Angela work and really put pressure on Team Morbid in the early game and late, especially the late. That Moskov getting a triple kill and a Maniac in that game was insane. As we prepare for game number 3, we can see that really Team Morbid struggling in the goal lane with their draft, not being able to actually secure a good goal lane lead in both games actually. As we enter game number 3, both teams at a standstill, 1-1, and we wait for the bans coming out. I believe it'll be the same few bans as the last game, the Faramis and the Baxia, and the Borg and the Matilda being banned out as we are ready to go into game number 3. Again, 1-1, a best of 5. Whoever wins 3 matches goes to the finals, whereas the losers go down to the lower brackets finals. This will be interesting. I think both teams are ready to go and they're just waiting. Yeah. And we are ready, set for game number 3 of the night of today's set. Let us begin. Faramis Matilda, Exborg, and yeah, here we are, game number 3, draft. This time Waku Waku on the blue side and Morbid on the red. They take out the Odette from the mid lane. Again, something that's been really annoying and that's been really tight these days. The first match, as we can see, Odette causing a lot of problems for Team Waku, and they decide to just ban it out straight up. Whereas for the side of Team Morbid, let's see what they decide to ban out. Will they ban out the Moskov? No, they decide to ban out the Harith and go with the traditional bans as they did in first game, really. As Team Waku prepare to ban out their second hero. Let's see how this match goes on. Will they ban out the Fredrin, or will they leave it open this time around as well? Because they were able to pick it up last match and really leverage out of it, but they decide to ban it out as the first pick goes to the red team. Does it? No, the first pick goes to the blue team. All right, and we wait for the second ban coming out from Team Morbid. Let's see whether to take out the Moskov. No, they decide to go with their standard draft and just take out the Barats. Jungler is taken out for both sides as we enter the first pick of the game for the side of Team Waku in the blue square. Let's see what they go. And they take the Yuzhong. Dragon being picked up by Waku Waku, which is actually very good. We've seen Dragon being picked up both sides and working out well for both teams. And also maybe losing out in the second match. We could see the Yuzhong actually losing out pretty hard to the Esmeralda in the late game. As Teresa gets picked up for Team Morbid. This is a classic challenge. And the Minotaur also being picked up. Two very good heroes for teamfight potential. Again, as I was saying, Teresa does hold the Yuzhong in place. Both of them high damage heroes, high sustain heroes. It's like the Yuzhong and Lapu Lapu tug of war the Lapu Lapu and the Esmeralda tug of war, which we used to have earlier in a few seasons ago. As we enter the second pick phase for Team Waku Waku, and they take the Diggy and the Valentina, a very good counter draft against this high teamfight potential. Whereas Team Morbid shows a Claude. Again, with the Minoan Fury and the penalty zone, the Diggy's times journey can be really good to save the rest of the team of Waku Waku. And a little bit of a switch up from the traditional Angela picks. Valentina into that mage role. As Nana is being hovered, and they decide to take the Nana from the side of Team Morbid. Again, this is going to be interesting. Team Morbid probably are going to be playing into the Diggy, trying to take out the Diggy first in every ban, and they decided to ban out the Nathan. Again, a huge problem in game number 1, which they barely won by a good positioning. But still respecting that Nathan, they banned it out, whereas Team Waku Waku will be entering the final ban. As we wait. Martis being banned out. Again, an early game hero that's been really up and coming for the side of Team Morbid, as they decide to probably pick up their goal lane now, with Claude being hovered. Claude into this comp, again, Team Waku Waku not being that tanky. Yes, the Yuzhong is there. The Diggy can be surprisingly pretty tanky in the late game as well, but they decide to go for the Roger with the Harith banned out. This is probably a Roger Gold, as we saw in the first game. Very strong, can dominate most heroes. Let's see what picks Waku Waku do and move on from there. They do need a jungler and a gold laner, as they already have the Diggy, Valentina, and Yuzhong. Again, this Diggy will come in handy a lot. And the Ixia being picked up. Ixia Akai being taken by the side of Team Waku Waku. Akai, another utility jungler that's been really good in the meta. And Ixia, an overall insane hero. Anyone caught in the final barrage will not even know how their HP is going down, as Leomord being shown up. An interesting pick if it goes through for the side of Team Morbid, because Leomord needs a lot of scale for him to be viable in the late game, and he may fall off to the Valentina and the Ixia. But we'll have to see. That is a lock. So this will be a Leomord jungle for the side of Team Morbid and a Akai jungle for the side of Team Waku Waku. Team Waku do have the Diggy to counter out the penalty zone and the Minoan Fury coming, and the Nana's Clockwork coming in from the side of Team Morbid. But we'll have to see how Team Morbid decide to play against that Time's Journey. We'll probably have to keep a close eye on the goal lane, as we have to see how this Ixia can fare against a Roger, which is something we haven't seen much, even in the MPL. Ixia being picked up against Roger, Roger being such a high damage hero in the early game. This will be quite an interesting game number 3 as we enter the Land of Dawn. Both teams standing at 1-1. All right, here we are in game number 3. Let's see what goes on as both teams, this time Akai going for the Behemoth Retribution, which is interesting. Usually they go for the Ice Retribution, as the Leomord does go for the Ice Retribution, and encourage onto the Diggy, which is also interesting. I feel like they're going to be playing around the heals and the sustain coming out from both teams very well. Diggy coming in the bot side. Again, this is going to be a roam, a 2-man bot. As top sides, we already have a little bit of a tussle. Yuzhong getting a little chunked, but shouldn't be worried against Perezla. He can just heal up on them a few minions as both teams clear out their red buff and contest the lethal. But Akai does not get the retribution off, the Nana stun coming in, and a huge damage onto the Akai. The Leomord, the Nana getting the first blood. This is insane damage. With the Diggy not being able to be present there, just a 2v3 situation, Akai does go down, giving a leverage to Leomord. But as a past 2 games go, we've seen that this early game lead fall off pretty quick in the late game. Meanwhile, in the top lane, both fighters chunked down pretty low. But this is the case for Yuzhong and Teresa. It's like you go down, I go down. In the mid lane, the Leomord going onto the Diggy early game not being so good, gets out-rotated and gets down. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Ixia putting on some damage onto the Roger, but the Roger going back in, Ixia knowing very well that the Leomord is back there, but decides to call it up as Team Morbid tried to contest this bot side, but decided to back it up as Turtle spawns and the Akai being there. Alright. Let's see how this turtle fight goes. A very good start for the side of Team Morbid, but let's see how they transcend those skills into this first turtle as the Diggy does get seen by the Minotaur. This Akai hitting the turtle as Yuzhong tries to go in with the Black Dragon form. Turtla in position as well. Leomord also ready. All ults available for both sides. Minotaur in position as well, but without the Minoan Fury, I'm not sure if he's going to stay there for long. Valentina coming in with her very own Minoan Fury out of nowhere is able to penalty zone onto 4 members. Akai does pin Leomord in the back, but that Teresa going crazy, taking down both the Yuzhong and the Valentina as the Leomord chases down the Diggy. Very, very clean game. Very good coordination coming in from the side of Team Morbid as the Akai was left hanging with no damage to take down the Leomord in the backside. A good trade and the turtle going to the red team as this looks like a good early start for Team Morbid, as we have seen in every game, all 3 games. As we go into the first 4 minutes of the match. Alright, both sides going back to the jungle. This Akai being a little bit low on farm now because of how delayed he was and not being able to take the turtle, but he's still not down. The Diggy getting caught off by the Minotaur, but It's again a Roma versus Rome. Both sides decide to call it off. Leomord also in the bot side with that Nana. As the Ixia and the Diggy are present, let's see what Team Morbid have in store, whether they will dive this or not. As the rest of Team Waku Waku also try and rotate to the goal lane. Leomord trying to rotate them as well as Roger clears up bot side. There is nothing much going on as Leomord just tried to clear out the vision. And meanwhile, on the top side, an insane fight going out for the side of that Yuzhong. Tresla being forced back up. Coming back bot, the Roger does dive into the Ixia, but the Ixia missing the final dash. Coming out with the ult from the Leomord, getting pulled back and into the tower stunned, but the Diggy also goes down. The Akai heavy spin not being able to be utilized properly. The Roger trying to go back in. Meanwhile, from the back, Valentina comes and takes down the Minotaur. As this is a change of events, as Team Morbid get very low with their HP, and Leomord getting cancelled on the TP. Meanwhile, in the top side, Yuzhong gets a solo kill onto the Tresla. Tresla really being backed up by this Yuzhong. As the first turtle spawns and Team Waku Waku are on it, Akai starts hitting the turtle. This should be a free turtle for the side of Team Waku. As top tower goes down from the Yuzhong, there's nothing that Team Morbid can do as the Minotaur gets chunked down real hard by the Valentina. This Valentina pick coming out very crucial. As we saw in the first time, there was a slight misstep in the first turtle fight, or the second turtle fight, with the Minotaur ult, but the second time this time with the Nana ult, she was able to get quite a few kills down bot. As we go into first 5 minutes of the match and first item check of today, with we can see that the Valentina already has the enchanted talisman, as the Leomord just gets the Hunter Strike and is building into the BOD most probably. Again, we can see that there is a Roma versus Roma tussle, as the Diggy getting pretty low from the Minotaur, surprisingly. Also already coming out from the Nana as topside. The heavy spin also committed onto the Tresla. Meanwhile, back at the bot side, we have possibly a tower, but the final barrage does come down, and Leomord tries to clear out mid. Ixia being able to defend her side of the tower, as Diggy comes and tries to help her out as well. We have a wave popping up, but this Roger will try to clear it out. This time there is no final barrage for the side of Ixia. I'm not sure if they'll be able to defend it if Morbid decide to crash in, which they don't seem like they will. Turtle coming up in 12 seconds, as both junglers get ready to clear it out. Meanwhile, in the top side, the Yuzhong getting spotted out by the Minotaur. And in the mid, Diggy does somewhat see the Nana. Alright, as the turtle spawns up and Team Morbid starts it up. As Ixia pushes out bot side, I believe this time around Team Morbid will give up the turtle and try to take down the bot tower for the side of Team Morbid, as the final barrage heavy spin goes onto the Roger in the bot side, and a kill going for the turtle. A kill and a tower for the side of Team Waku Waku for just a turtle and possibly a blue buff if Leomord tries to commit, but the Yuzhong is there to try and stop him. And yeah, a little bit of a brawl. Tresla coming in. Tresla getting caught off. Nana ult onto the Tresla, and Akai is able to be there to pick up the kill onto this Tresla. Tresla really being struggling right now to actually get the penalty zone off and being able to hold off the rest of Team Waku Waku. As the Diggy does get caught off, Lightning jump coming in. Valentina going in. As Minotaur tries to do something but gets chunked low by the Akai. Roger clearing out bot side is still unable to get that bot tower, as the rest of team Morbid go back to their retreat to their sides, as team Waku Waku push forward and put pressure onto the side of team Morbid. This Valentina pick turning out to be crucial, really, sitting with the Nana ult. Leomord going in, almost takes down the Diggy, but the Diggy is able to come out of the Khan's journey and heal herself out. The heavy spin coming out from the attack gets the Leomord stuck into the final barrage, and the Minotaur also getting a little bit chunked here. Minotaur being able to escape with that flicker, but as the rest of the team Waku Waku descend upon Team Morbid, they try to take down the mid side. The Yuzhong being chunked very low and goes down to the Nana, as the rest of Team Waku Waku prepare for the Lord. The heavy spin really coming out, catching the Leomord before the turtle, really putting in some pressure, but the Yuzhong going down before the Lord means that Team Waku cannot continue, but the Minoan Fury already being wasted down, and this could be a kill onto the Minotaur, but no. That is a big spell expended before the Lord right now. No Minoan Fury on the table for the side of Team Morbid, which could be crucial at this Lord fight. Diggy still having the Time's Journey is able to dish out some type of help and support, as Akai does see the Minotaur, but is not going to go in on that, as the Yuzhong defends bot side. The rest of Team Morbid coming in ready for the Lord fight, as Team Waku Yakai starts up the fight. Yuzhong Minotaur walking in and does get bursted down. Heavy spin also being committed, but this Valentina does pick up that kill. Yuzhong coming in with the Black Dragon form, as Leomord is present, and Terezla still with the penalty zone, a Petrify, and the final barrage onto the members of Team Morbid, as Terezla tries to flicker in with the penalty zone, but does get taken down himself, and a Lord going to the side of Team Waku Waku with the Akai. This turned out into an interesting game, as that Ixia really put in the pressure for the side of Team Waku. Meanwhile, in the top side, Nana getting caught off by the Diggy. This could turn into quite a few turrets, really. Team Morbid not having an answer to that Ixia. They are not able to get into the backlines and take down that marksman, which is really causing an issue for the side of Team Morbid. Team Waku do take that Ixia does take down the top side, as the Nana also used by the Valentina. A flicker also being taken out just to get out to safety. And meanwhile, in the bot side, Yuzhong does take that tower as well. As the Lord marches down bot, a wave coming in from mid as Team Waku are in position, probably taking down this tower. Will Team Morbid try to defend? I'm not sure. The final barrage is up. We do have the heavy spin and the Black Dragon form. The heavy spin coming out, catching out one member, as the penalty zone comes into the backline, as the Yuzhong goes really deep to the enemy, as the Dresler goes down to the Vexana, and Lord goes down as well, but they do get to the bot tower. Team Morbid really not being able to do anything much here. That Ixia's final barrage really causing a problem for them, and without anything to cancel it, like a true immobilize or a solid stun, this Ixia is free hitting, meaning that in the late game, this Roger is going to fall off while this Ixia keeps scaling with no threats really. Sitting at a comfortable 0-1 and 7. A beautiful KDA for something like the Ixia, which we've seen played not that much really. Let's see what Team Morbid decide to do, as the Lord does come up in 50 seconds. Coming into an item check, we can see that the Ixia already has the Demon onto Sword, part of a Trinity build up with the Sea Halberd as well, whereas the Roger is stuck with the Hunter Strike and the Wind Chant. Alright, Lord coming up in 28 seconds. Let's see what Team Morbid try to do, whether they will contest this or not. If they do try to contest this, they need to find a way to take down the Ixia. Otherwise, that final barrage again will really cause a problem and probably end the game right here. But nothing to counter it. Again, this Nana needs to be in complete position to try and take down the Ixia. But with the Valentina and a Minotaur, the Minoan Fury, it'll be interesting. All right, the teams are ready as the Akai does start off the Lord as Digi goes around planting his bombs, trying to get vision all around. Valentina in position, doesn't have anyone's ult yet, but decides to go back, not taking anyone's ult. As the Lord comes down to 3/4 his HP and is getting reset possibly. Yes, it does get reset. Alright, as both teams are preparing again. Roger is clearing out mid side but is now coming in. Valentina, the Black Dragon form extended, trying to get vision all around the map. As the Lord was almost getting chunked down, but the Akai also low a penalty zone onto the Akai, and the Leomord gets the turtle, but the final barrage finally coming down, gets the Leomord, gets the Teresla. Ixia is huge, whereas only Diggy falling for the side of Team Waku Waku. This Lord may just be a complete waste for the side of Team Morbid, as that Ixia can completely clear out that hero as well, whereas mid tower is not taken down yet. Roger just jumps in but gets out soon as the Valentina takes the Roger ult and backs up as the Lord keeps marching down topside. The Ixia does take it down. And yeah, a good engage. It looked like the start of a good engage for the side of Team Morbid, but it did turn out into a bad end as the Ixia got the final barrage up. The Time's Journey actually keeping up the Ixia alive as the rest of Team Morbid are not able to help out the Teresla and follow up with the damage. This is going to be interesting as we are now at another standstill, both teams being at almost even gold level as well. We might have a few short brawls, but I don't think both teams are ready to extend so much, especially knowing that Team Morbid can lose out in fights as long as that final barrage is up, is detrimental. Now, as we have been hearing that this Roger is good in the gold lane, right now for the first two matches, it seems like he does fall off late game. Roger, as a hero, even in the jungle, could not scale as heavily as other marksmen do. So we'll have to see how this plays out, as the Akai does get spotted out for the side of Morbid. Let's see what they decide to do here. The Akai going in for the heavy spin, tries to get the Leomord and does get him, but is in between members. Penalty zone coming out, doesn't catch anyone. The Divine Digi ult coming out, Minotaur going down. The Leomord also going down. The Nana being chunked down to her passive, but also goes down to the Yuzhong. Yuzhong getting a beautiful stun in the backside, just double kill onto the Teresla. And the Roger has nothing else to do. That may be all she wrote. The Roger also going down as minions for the side of Team Morbid spawn in, just delaying the inevitable. A beautiful fight. The Teresla really missing out on the ult, on the penalty zone onto the Ixia, really could not be a worse timing as Leomord also goes down to the heavy slam, and that is game number 3 for the side of Team Waku Waku. Really good start, really good finish, a clean, disciplined game from the side of Team Waku. That Ixia getting such good leverage with no stuns coming out from Morbid. That's game number 2. Waku Waku 2, Morbid 1, best of 5. All right, coming back to the match, we can see that Team Morbid really have good early game with the draft, but the Leomord, the Roger, and the Teresla not being able to dish out enough damage to take down the backline of Team Waku Waku has been really interesting. Maybe in the next game, this is match point for Team Waku Waku. One more win and they proceed towards the finals. Whereas if Team Morbid lose, they will go down to the lower brackets. But let's see whether or not this time we'll have a different draft coming up from the side of Team Morbid, preferably a utility jungle to try and get that leverage. But we are yet to see. The last match, that Valentina, was really detrimental, you could say, for that early game sustain with that Nana ult. That was insane. Will they ban out the Valentina this time around? I do not think so. But you don't know what can happen in the draft. We are waiting for the teams to come back in. And as we do, let's have a little look around. Let's discuss what happened last game. And Waku having insane damage. Again, that Ixia. I'm very surprised at the final barrage being so good against Team Morbid. Morbid already having just frontliners. They have nothing to go for the backline. They just get melted. All right. The teams are there, but maybe a little bit up and down. All right. The teams are ready for game number 4. Match point for the side of Team Waku, 2-1. Let's see whether or not Team Morbid are able to actually get a win and get themselves back on the board and make it a best of 5. Game number 5. All right. We're entering the bans for the final game. It's going to be the same, they say. That is the Faramis, Borg, Matilda, and I believe the... All right, let me get back to you. It is the Faramis, Borg, Matilda, and Baxia as we enter game number 4. The first bans coming out. All right, let us go into these bans as Fredrin goes out for the side of Team Morbid. As Team Waku will probably ban out the Odette. That's been a good ban recently for their side. Let's see whether they commit to it or not. Yep, they do take out the Odette, which is probably their best mage for the side of Team Morbid. I'm not sure, but from information gathered, that is the case. Let's see if Team Morbid try to take out something else. They do take out the Barat. They're still banning out the tank jungles. That is a scary thing to go up against. But without that, fighter jungles being another option, maybe we'll have a few assassins on the board this game. I'm not sure what they decide to bring out, but the Yu Zhong being banned out by Team Waku. Yu Zhong doing very well from the past few games. They decide to ban it out. Obviously, the Black Dragon being able to zone out almost the entire enemy team as we enter the first pick of the season. Game number 4. Let's see what they decide to pick up. All right. As the clock ticks down, we have the Harriet being picked up again. A couple of matches ago, the Harriet did not perform as well in the goal lane, so I'm not sure whether this Harriet will be going to the goal lane or be flexed onto the jungle, but we'll have to go and see. Meanwhile, the Esmeralda also being picked up and the Angela taken up by Team Waku. This is the same comp that destroyed the Harith a few games earlier. Let's see if it can do the same this game as well. As we enter the second phase of the picks for Team Morbid. And yeah, we're waiting up for a few picks. We see a Rafaela being hovered, Martis being locked in right now before it gets banned out again, and Rafaela also being taken up. This is going to be an interesting change of pace, actually, with the Holy Healing coming up, boosting the movement speed of the Martis and any mid laner that they choose. Now, this will be interesting to see how the early game again goes out for both sides. But as we've seen so far, even though Team Morbid have been winning out in the early, they start falling off late. And as we speak of assassins, we have Lancelot being picked up. Finally, being able to see an assassin on the board really makes it fun. You know, we've been missing out on all the assassin gameplays, the high skill mechanical gameplays. As we enter ban number 3, Dairoth also going down, so that this Esmeralda can actually free farm. And with the Yuzhong also going out, this could be a free Esmeralda. What do you really want to pick into the EXP of Team Waku? As Team Morbid finally ban out the Nathan, again respecting the amount of damage that they can do. All right, for the side of Team Waku, we do still need, I believe this Angela is going to the mid again, so we still need a roam and we also need a marksman. And they decide to go with a Moskov. This is almost similar to the draft before, as for the side of Team Morbid, let's see what they're going for the picks. They could go for something like probably what can they go for? Vexana, which has been left open surprisingly in almost all these matches, not being picked up, but they do show Loi and probably a Khalid on the field up against Esmeralda. Khalid does have a good early game advantage, but as we've seen before, Esmeralda can out damage the Khalid late. So we'll have to see how that goes. As Ikaja being picked up as the last roamer for Team Waku Waku. This is a mid lane Angela. Again, we'll go into game number 4. Waku Waku up 2, Morbid 1. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this Moskov. Let's see if this Moskov can get leverage onto the Harith. A couple of games ago, he did beat the Harith in lane. Not necessarily in lane, but in team fights because of the amount of damage that he can do and the stuns that he was getting. He was getting really good stuns. Let's see if he's able to do that again this game. They do have the Kaja, which can stop a lot of the things and is a natural counter to the Martis with the Divine Judgment. But we do have Rafaela, an interesting pick for the side of Team Morbid. Huge movement speed, the Holy Baptism being a good stun. All right, here we go. Game number 4. Team Morbid down a game. Team Waku at match point. If they win this, they will be ascending up to the finals and sending Team Morbid down. As both teams start off with Ice Retribution, Kaja Conceal, and Silver for the Rafaela. All right. The mid lane being quite interesting, a different approach from last one, as 2 people go mid, Angela and the Kaga both clearing out the mid lane as the jungles do clear out their first buffs and prepare for lethal as the Lance approaches it, so does the Martyr. He may walk up, chunking down the Kaga quite a bit, but is not that scary. An early flicker by the Loi in the mid side as he almost gets caught off by the Kaja and the Angela. Meanwhile, in the top side, let's see how the Esmeralda is rotating, but the Khalid is jumped down pretty low. Bot side, Kaja does appear. but decides to cancel that rotation out. A fairly calm game right now as the Marcus tries to invade the Lancelot's jungle but is unable to do so as the Esmeralda is right there. This Lancelot, I want to see how this Lancelot is going to be played out into this composition because they do have the Mortal Coil on the Marcus as the Lance goes onto the Rafaela but doesn't get much out of it as the first turtle spawns in 5 seconds. Khalid topside, not being able to actually win out against the Esmeralda, but then what else do you pick in the EXP as the Lancelot start up the turtle? Marcus just literally just walking up against this as the rest of Team Waku Waku descend upon them. This Marcus going in, does not get a turtle and is stung down very low, is probably taken down by the Angela. First blood drawn by Angela for the side of Team Waku as the rest of Team Morbid have to disperse. Esmeralda is able to get out from that engage as the Rafaela returns. Meanwhile, in the bot side, we can see that the Kaja is at level 4, does have the Divine Judgment, so we'll have to see whether or not he'll be using it. Maybe, maybe not. All right, that was an interesting engage, a very, very good engage for the side of Team Waku, getting the first blood onto the enemy jungler. And yeah, we're moving on to the bot side. We can see the Martis walking up. We can see the Harrods trying to be slightly aggressive, but Team Waku, they know that Team Morbid is there. And alt onto the Martis gets the vision that is required, knowing that the rest of the Team Morbid is there. Kaja does walk up, but oh my god, the diversion play on Moskov, but the Heart Guard coming out clutch to save him, but is not enough to do so as the Lance comes in and takes down the Martis in the backside, going in for the Harrods, and the Harrods does go down from the Divine Judgment as well. But 3 members getting caught into the tower. Kaja chasing down the Rafaela, unable to get it as the Loi chunks down quite a bit. And a very good trade coming out for the side of Team Waku as they get 3 kills on the board already. And 2 kills on the Angela, a kill into the Lance. But the biggest thing is those 2 assists onto a Moskov, which can scale very high in the late game. Let's see. Meanwhile, on the top side, Khalid does get chunked down pretty low by the Esmeralda as Turtle is up. Lance still on his blue, so they do have some time to recover as both teams prepare for a Lord Turtle fight. March is starting it up. Angela does get vision onto the Turtle. Loi clearing up mid, but Martis just backs up because of the Divine Judgment still being available on the Kaja as Lancelot free hitting the Turtle. Divine Judgment pulls the Martis back and is able to secure the Turtle. Meanwhile, the Rafaela may get chunked. Holy Baptism does come out, but is not enough to save him. And there we go, a 1 kill and a turtle for the side of Team Waku. Good early game start. This will only keep scaling higher and higher with a Moskov, with a Lance, with an Angela. As the Martis is unable to get that early game lead as was expected from the first game. The Khalid trying to get some leverage in the top side, but is unable to do so, getting chunked down pretty low as he almost gets taken out, has to flicker out and heal. Meanwhile, in the bot side, there's nothing much going on. There's a Kaja in the bush ready. Meanwhile, top side, back again, the Khalid does get an outplay onto the Lance as the Esmeralda finishes him off. But that is insane. That was well played. Meanwhile, in the bot side, a diversion play done by the Loi. The Kaja trying to get saved. A Heart Guard coming out and a Flicker expended. But the Kaja does get out. Zamin Force also being used by the Harroth, so there's no push coming out for the goal lane. Meanwhile, in the top side, the Esmeralda getting a tower. And as the team falls into place, Turtle coming up in the next 30 seconds. Let's have a look at the items. We can see Loi already with the Enchanted Talisman, but so is the Esmeralda. Moskov already up 2 items, whereas the Martis has just got the Hunter Strike, and the Harith just got the Starlium Sight. This Moskov is going to be really detrimental. Meanwhile, in the bot side, the Lance does try to chunk down the Martis, as the rest of Team Morbid are there to back him up in case Turtle spawning in 2, whereas this is going to be an interesting fight. Divine Judgment still available for him, and the Moskov going crazy, takes down the Martis and the Rafaela. This Moskov is insane, and the Lancelot being able to assist them out. This is a complete turtle, a free turtle to the side of Team Waku. This seems to be scaling down right now for the side of Team Morbid, as the early game aggression is completely lost. They're unable to maintain their momentum, whereas Team Waku Waku keep pushing out, and Lance does get a kill onto the Martis. Hardguard onto the Esmeralda, keeps going in. This is a fight right here. Can the Khalid sustain? Khalid has to figure out. Divine Judgment still available. Moskov comes in, tries to get the Rafaela in the back. Ramen Force already down. But the Martis is able to get their Kaja. But this Esmeralda still trying to go for the Harith and is able to confirm that kill. And now the Khalid and the Esmeralda keep fighting it out, but both sides getting lower and lower. Esmeralda still being able to maintain and try and contest this blue buff, possibly. Again, a huge lead for the side of Team Waku Waku. Esmeralda is able to get the blue buff as well. This is going to be a monster on the field right now, as the mid tower also falls. We can see that there's 10 kills on the board for the side of Team Waku, and they have been performing exponentially, especially this Martis, who is able to just chunk down so many members. Divine Judgment in the top side from the Kaja onto the Khalid, taking him down immediately. Meanwhile, the Abyssal Arrow in the bot side does not connect with anyone as they break up, and the Martis may go down to the passive of Moskov, doing insane damage from that level. In the bot side, the Esmeralda going in on the tower. The Harith cannot do anything as the Heartsguard does come out and give an insane amount of shield. The Holy Baptism does come out, but is not able to stun him in for long enough. Lance going crazy in the backside, is able to get down the Rafaela and the Loi, as only Khalid lives. But Khalid getting a huge sandstorm, gets a kill onto the Angela as Martis comes in. Khalid does take down the Esmeralda and the Kaja for the side of Team Morbid, but is that enough as the Lord spawns? Martis clearing out mid. Sorry, it was the Esmeralda that went down. Esmeralda and Angela. Alright. This is turning out to be interesting. Let's have a look at the items right now, as we are pretty close in there. We have Athena Shield for the Esmeralda, but this Moskov already having almost all his items out. Again, a fight coming out, Holy Baptism already out, but nothing much out of it, as Moskov starts melting down the Lord. There is nothing Morbid can do. This Moskov will melt them immediately. Again, they're having the same issue. Without a proper gold laner, without a proper DPS hero, they're unable to actually contest objectives or team fights. Meanwhile, the Moskov getting a kill onto the Khalid. Heartsguard coming out on top of the Moskov. The rest of Team Morbid backing up. This maybe game. A Recall Fest coming out in the mid. In the top side, actually, as the Lord spawns down mid. Lance coming out crazy with some good skill dashes right there. As we may be entering the final stages, probably the last few fights before we see a decisive winner of the upper bracket. This Moskov missing the Abyssal Arrow, but should not be an issue right now. Let's see as the Lord comes in. They do. Esmeralda coming in as Lance gets caught off trying to go in for a freestyle, but It's not over yet. Divine Judgment onto the Harith as the Moskov comes in, gets the Khalid, but the Khalid does get out. Harith continues going in, but they can't do much. Moskov in the top side trying to take down the tower is unable to do so, and it is a fairly good base defense from the side of Team Morbid. Nobody goes down, whereas the Lance goes down for the side of Team Waku Waku. Even though now Team Morbid, they may be able to get some leverage, but it's already an indecisive, almost 10k goal lead for the side of Team Waku. This Angela Esmeralda being a serious problem for this Harith, as the Harith gets heavily countered easily by such a huge chunk of damage. As we can see the team lining up for a recall fest, are they? They're having fun here. They can sense it. They're having a little bit of a recall up and down, a little bit of a picture. Anyways, coming back into the game. Yeah, let's have a look at the items while we're waiting. We can see that the Moskov, oh my god, the Moskov is almost fully built, building up the Rose Gold at the end. The Lancelot does try to get in, but the Heart Guard comes out, is able to defend as the Moskov, and a Khalid ult onto no members actually. The Lance does go down, Divine Judgment onto the Khalid, but the Khalid is able to sustain just a little bit longer as the Esmeralda takes down the Martis and the Khalid. Interesting. That is quite an aggressive stance, but Morbid still being able to defend out. 20 seconds into the Lord. Their jungler does go down, but so does the jungler for the side of Team Morbid. Let's see whether or not they will go for the Lord. They do have the Moskov, which can really completely take down this 13-minute Lord pretty easily. A diversion play onto the top push does get caught off the Angela. Zamin Force Holy Baptism also expended along with the diversion, but here comes the Esmeralda trying to go in onto them, but is trying to play safe as Moskov Harith quickly take down the Lord. Martis trying his best to get some leverage as the Esmeralda goes back in, but may get chunked down almost. Khalid coming in with the ult. Lancelot takes down the Loe, but the Loe goes down, and a double kill, but this is an insane play right here. Team Morbid is able to wipe out Team Waku Waku with an insane... The Harith was free hitting once the Esmeralda went down. The Harith with the Zamin Force was able to completely wipe the floor, as the Lord may just go down here. Harith may be able to completely take down the Lord and continue moving on. They may try to take down mid as well. Holy Baptism does come out to zone away the Angela, as the rest of Team Waku Waku come back, and Moskov in the bot side is able to defend the tower. Sadly, only one tower going down for the side of Team Morbid. They could get more out of it if possible, but not right now, as the entire team of Waku Waku is up again. But another diversion play like that, and we might be able to get off another good fight and possibly another wipe for Team Morbid, giving them a advantage as the Lord is due up in 80 seconds, a minute and a half and so. Alright, here we go. Let's have one more item check, one final item check. As we can see, the Moskov fully built. The Harith also finally getting his immortality most probably, or 800 belt, I'm not sure. That could be one or the either. Lancelot also going full damage, fully built, as the Esmeralda is also almost completely done with her items as well. We are now waiting for another Lord spawn, and I believe Team Morbid will not try to contest this, as they're having a little fun recall session in their own base. Again, Team Morbid not being able to actually contest anything without a DPS hero. They need to get a pick off first. There is the divergent play from the Loi, which threatens Team Waku, but if they are able to play it out properly, we have 20 seconds till Lord spawns. Let's see how fast this Lance and this Moskov can take this Lord down. We'll see. Okay. We are entering as the Lord does get jumped down and started up by Team Waku. Martis is already on it. As a diversion comes into the backside of Team Waku, and everybody does see it. A divine judgment onto the Loi, but the Loi is able to get out, but then the Moskov does catch the Khalid, but the Khalid able to sustain. Not for long though, Khalid goes down as Martis also falls in the backside. Esmeralda going in onto the Harith, but the Harith is able to get a double kill onto the Esmeralda and the Angela, but does get stunned up. Immortality pops for both the Harith and the Rafaela, but the Rafaela does go down along with the Harith, and that should be game. Only a Loi standing up. Loi is able to take down the Lancelot, who is trying his best. There is no divine judgment, but this may be base. There is no immortality onto the Kaja. Is Loi able to defend this, but not for long, as possibly this is the end. Team Morbid have been dropped to the lower brackets, and Team Waku Waku will be ascending to the finals of the day. The best of 5 match, 3 wins for Team Waku, 1 win for Team Morbid. This was an interesting match that Moskov really putting in the work, as we see. And yeah, that was a wonderful game coming in for the side of both teams. Congratulations to Team Waku Waku winning this out.